Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a curious boy named Peter. Peter would go into the forest every chance he got, get lost among the trees, and listen to the birds sing. One day, he set off on a journey deeper into the forest than he had ever been before. The forest offered him new surprises at every step. As he went deeper, he came across an old owl sitting under a huge oak tree. The owl looked at Peter with wise eyes and said, "Little friend, every creature in this forest has a story to tell. Would you like to listen?" Peter nodded excitedly. The owl said, "My biggest mistake was thinking I knew everything. One night I saw a star lost in the sky. I tried to save it by flying up with my wings, but I was tired. Just then, a little firefly showed me the way. That night, I realized that we are not always the wisest." Peter was very impressed by the owl's story. Then he met an old turtle living in a puddle. The turtle said, "My biggest fear was being slow. While the other animals were waiting for me, I always fell behind. Until one day, even though I was the slowest in a race, I was the most careful and escaped danger. From that day on, I realized that my slowness was a strength." Later, Peter met an eagle nesting at the top of a giant pine tree. The eagle said, "My greatest pride was being the ruler of the sky. But one day, I almost lost my life in a violent storm. Then I realized that even the strongest can be helpless against nature." Deep in the forest, Peter also met a cunning fox. The fox said, "My greatest pleasure was playing games, but one day, my cunning got me into a dangerous situation. From that day on, I decided to always be honest." Finally, Peter met an old fish living by a stream. The fish said, "My greatest desire was to see the ocean, but I couldn't cross the stream. Then I realized that happiness is not always far away. I can be happy in my own place." Peter learned a lot from all these animals' stories. As he left the forest, the owl, who acted like a grandfather, turned to Peter and said, "Little friend, every experience is a lesson. You will learn and discover new things throughout your life. Remember, the most important thing is to always be curious and keep your heart open." Peter never forgot his grandfather's words. For the rest of his life, he remembered the teachings of the wise friends of the forest, overcame every difficulty, and lived a full life.